Give it 2 seconds. We are live. Okay, good to go.
Hello, people of That Beautiful Life podcast. This is Roddy Bergström talking, sitting in the beautiful Stockholm, Sweden, and sweating a bit. I actually had a really thick sweater. I think I need to take it off. Either way, it's beautiful to have you here listening to us. We're going to get into that in a second. It's episode 157. And with that said, I would like to hear my dear friend Kudus Campbell all the way over in the beautiful Reading. Are you sweating?
I'm not. I was
Okay.
sweating last night. I was last night because like I woke up and changed my. I think when I woke up I woke up like 5 a.m. or something.
Okay.
To use the toilet, and when I got up, I ended up changing my underpants because they were soaked from the sweat. So I was sweating. Because I was sleeping because it's really cold right now. So I had on this really thick duvet, and that particular duvet, I think it's like duck feathers or something.
Oh,
that particular one makes me sweat really, really badly. So
it sounds warm. That I can say. That's by the sound of it.
It's super warm. So
Yeah.
I just changed it and came to the office. Well, yeah, I came to the office after because I've been sleeping in the office for the past, I want to say past couple of weeks. I've been sleeping in the office because Alex is sleeping on the sofa, which I mentioned to you before, because she's our bed is not conducive to her spine or whatever have you. She gets back pains. Also, that's one of the reasons. The other reason, our bed is a mess. Like there's a bunch of shit in our bed that needs to be removed. So there's two reasons. Like we need to actually like clear the bed. Because there's a bunch of clothes and other shit that we've just like piled up on there for the past couple of, I don't know when, and it needs to move. And the other reason is because she's been complaining about her back, so she started like sleeping on the sofa, and I was like, oh, if she's sleeping on the sofa, and the bed is a mess, I'm just gonna sleep in the office.
Okay.
Which I don't actually like sleeping in the office. I actually like my bed because it's way more comfortable. But yeah, I've just been sleeping in the office. The only perk sleeping in the office has that it is way warmer inside here. Like inside the office is super warm. You don't even have to, you can sleep without a t-shirt on and all that kind of shit, and it's fine. You know.
Okay.
So yeah, but last night Ty slept with me because he was like, he read his bed. And he was like, can you? I said he was planning to go and sleep in his bed, but I said, nah, buddy, you're gonna have to sleep with me tonight. And then he got super excited. And then when he realized I wasn't actually going to bed the same time as him, he got disappointed and kept asking me every few minutes, like, when are you coming to bed? Are you finished with what you're doing? You know, I was like, mate, yo, if you keep asking questions, you're going to have to sleep in your own bed. And then he was like, damn it. Okay, I'm going to go sleep now. So he went to sleep. And
I hear. Yeah,
that was the end of that.
It was a bit of a special night, I guess. In that,
he does look forward to sleeping with either of us. Though he'll like if Alex says he can sleep with her, he gets super excited. If I say he can sleep with me, he gets super excited. We never both sleep with him at the same time because he rolls in his sleep, and it's really uncomfortable. So like if he's gonna sleep with her, I will sleep in another room, or if he's gonna sleep with me, she'll sleep in another room. We don't like. There's a very few chances that we sleep at the same time with him in the same bed. And usually, I would say I usually get the short end of the stick for that because I'm usually pushed up in the corner of the room, just like unable to move and all that kind of shit. Because that's usually what happens.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the only downside is that my guy just usually just rolls and pushes me into the corner of the bed.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, other than that, I can understand why he wants to do that. I mean, it's nice also, but on the other hand, it's easier, of course, when they are a bit like smaller, younger.
Yeah.
More like maybe 2-year-old or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because I remember, it's interesting that I remember when we got our first child, Adam, Agent Adam, and when he was like sleeping in between us in our bigger bed, and you think that, or you are a bit scared that what happens if I like rolled over and like rolled on him and stuff like that, or hit him or whatever. You're a bit worried about those things as a new just becoming a parent and everything. But actually, it doesn't happen. It's kind of interesting. They've done a lot of, for science reasons, having cams and watching whole families sleep, like during the
Hmm.
night. And it's interesting to see when you look at that, especially if you go fast forward and watch how people are moving in the bed. Maybe not much, but it's like a thing, like a small pattern, and that they don't really clash like that, even though it might be almost newborn baby.
Hmm.
So for some reason, I don't know how that works, but it seems to work. So I got used to that too, knowing that, okay, no worries, I'm not gonna hurt him. It's okay.
Hmm.
I can snore, I can sleep. It's gonna be
They sleep
fine.
through anything. That's the thing. That's what I found with Ty is that like I will literally once he's fallen asleep, like once he's actually asleep,
Mm,
I can like I'm in the office doing all sorts of stuff, moving shit around, banging things into things, and
yeah.
he's sleeping through like nobody's business. He
Yeah.
doesn't give a crap. Like, and I literally mean banging stuff in because a lot of times when he sleeps in the office, if I let him sleep in here, he will or if I let him sleep in our bed, a lot of times I may bump into stuff while I'm going in and out of the office or
Yeah,
trip
yeah.
over something or bump into something. And he will just, it doesn't affect him. He literally
Wow.
is just
Yeah.
like, he will just sleep through the whole damn thing. Like last night,
Mm.
similarly, I had like the computer flickering on and off because I was using the computer. And then I
Mm.
was bumping into things and opening doors and my guy was sound asleep, like really, really sound asleep. There was even one point in the night where I heard a loud bang, and this was after we had watched the show that we're gonna talk about. Which is, there's no secret. It's The Last of Us, because it's in
Yeah.
the title. But this is
Yeah.
after we watched The Last of Us. I was basically I literally heard this bang while I was laying on in bed, and I jumped up, and I was like, well, I'm thinking like maybe someone either bumped themselves into something, or because it sounded like it came from upstairs, or someone is trying to break it or something, right? Now I'm not afraid in any way, shape, or form in this scenario. I'm just like, let me just check and see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And it turned out it was Alex. She'd gotten up and went to like the bathroom or something. I was trying to close the living room door.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, okay, okay. I thought
Oh.
some, but you know what? The weirdest thing though, the order in which I check on everyone when I hear noise and stuff. I think the first person I go to is to check on Ty, and then I go and check on Zavi, and then I go to her. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I ran straight to the office. Okay, he's asleep. He's fine. I ran to the boys' room. Okay, he's fine. I was like, okay, let's go see what Alex is doing. So I ran downstairs. You know, I checked on her, make sure she's okay, and then
But
that's
that's not strange at all. Sorry, I
yeah.
have to fill in. I mean, I think most parents do exactly that. I think she would more also do the same. I mean,
Hmm.
you go to the kids first, I guess,
Yeah.
and then yeah, your partner or yeah,
Adults don't matter, if
yeah, yeah,
monsters come to take adults, it's like let them,
yeah, yeah.
they've
It's a
lived
bit
long
like that.
enough.
It's like there's a lot of us out there. We're many adults here, so
Yeah,
one more or less.
one
It's
less is not gonna hurt anybody. It's
no.
cool. you know it's all good.
Interested that you're talking about monsters. I'm like, okay, well, there are other things that can happen, but okay, monsters it is. That's
I think
fine.
that I think
That's
the thing
fine.
too as well is that Alex is she's quite, as I mentioned before, she's quite a coward. So it not in a, I don't say that in a mean way. I say like
No,
like
no, no. I hear
realistically
you.
speaking, like she is
Yeah, yeah.
afraid of a lot of things.
Mm.
So yeah, that's basically the gist of
Well,
that.
what do you mean? Like at home? Is it? I mean, I can understand if it's something
Mate,
that
I
might
can
be
scare her with
scary, like in a
ease.
film or
I can
what.
scare her with ease. There's one time I kid you not, I'm in the kitchen, right? I go downstairs, right? I'm in the kitchen and I think I was in the living room first, and I went to the kitchen. I started knocking on the bottom of the, like on the ceiling basically.
Aha.
Um and I think at first when I did it, I wasn't doing it on purpose in the sense. I was like, I was just standing in the entrance between the kitchen and the dining room, and I was like, wait a minute, I could actually reach the ceiling. And I just started to like knock on the ceiling. And then Alex calls out to me. She's like, babe, because she was in bed, right? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, were you the one making that knocking song? And I'm like, what knocking song, right? Because at that point, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna mess with you, right? So it's like, what knocking song? And she's like, I just heard a knocking song. I was like, what? I'm like all confused looking at her. She's like, huh? Knocking song? Like, what is she talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah.
And she's like, I'm serious. She's like, you sure you weren't making any knocking song? I was like, no, woman. I was in the living room.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I was like, let me go check for you, right? I go in the kitchen. I'm making very obvious songs that I'm down there. I'm like, I'm not seeing anything, babe. I'm not seeing anything. Let me check in the bathroom. I come back upstairs, babe. There's nothing down there. I don't know what you're hearing. She's like, I heard something coming from the room, right? I heard something coming from. So so I said, babe, you're imagining things. Look, I'm going back downstairs. I'm gonna sit on the sofa for a bit. I'm because I think I told her I was watching something. Right?
Okay.
And then I go back down and I make it very clear I'm going to the living room, but then I sneak from the living room back to the kitchen and I just tuck. And she's like, babe, there it goes again. I was like, what? What are you talking about? I run back upstairs. What are you talking about? And she's like, I can hear the knocking song. I was like, what knocking song? And at this point in time, she is up, awake, because she was actually laying down to sleep. She's awake, like looking around and stuff. She's got the lights on.
Nah.
And then I'm like, babe, it's nothing here. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, just check. I'm looking in the wardrobe and stuff. There's nothing.
No.
And then I sneak back downstairs and I'm just like, I go back downstairs. I was like, okay, babe, just like go sleep. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Right?
You start to believe that the whole place is haunted or
it's
something.
just exactly, that's exactly what was going on. I was like, it's just your imagination.
Those kind of knock sounds are actually a thing. So it's like, okay. There we go.
I went on the third time, she jumped up and she's like, no, Q, there's something here. She's like, she's up on her feet, like searching and stuff. And I'm just laughing hysterically. And she's like, when she realized that I was laughing and stuff and caught on to the fact that I was messing, she's like, don't do that. So.
Yeah, she got like, okay.
Yeah, I got her good.
Oh,
I got
nice,
her really good.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. It's nice to hear that, even though poor Alex, in a way, but it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it's all in good. It's all in good fun at the end of the day. So, yeah.
But talking about family and everything, how has your week been? Has it been a good one?
Pretty standard. Straight. I've had more rest because Alex has been getting up really early in the morning and and insisting she wants to take Ty to school. Because usually I would drop him off, but she's been insisting. I can not just that she would take him to school, like I'll be leaving and then she'll be putting on her shoes, and I'm like, why are you getting dressed? And she's like, oh, I'm coming with you. And then when I realized, like, hey, she's coming with us every damn morning, I was like, look, I'm staying in and getting some extra sleep. Like, the only reason I go in the morning is because you're sleeping. So, like, if you're gonna go, I'm gonna sleep because I don't know about you, but I like to get some sleep. If I can get some extra hours, I'm taking it. So. Basically, yeah, she's been dropping him off in the mornings, which has been affording me some extra time. Tyler's been great. He's been doing pretty good at school. No issues there. He had a little slip up on, I think, like last Friday or something like that, but it was quickly sorted out between us, him and the teachers, so it didn't really fester. But he's just been back to his good old self, doing what he's supposed to be doing, behaving, not getting into any trouble or anything like that. And then I think Xavi's the one who's just been getting into a bit of trouble, not with the school, but more so with us at home. He's just been very what's the word for it? Very absent-minded. Like he's not being aware of his surroundings and what's going on and stuff like that. And you tell him to do something, and 2 seconds later he'll forget. Like last night, I'm like, mate, go brush your teeth before you go to bed. I go upstairs and he's standing in the room and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm gonna do this. And out of all the stuff he says, none of it is brush your teeth. I'm just standing there looking at him.
Okay.
And I told him, I was like, look, do one push-up, right? And he starts crying. I'm like, no, you can't remember. And then at that point, he's like, I remember now. I remember. I'm supposed to brush my teeth. I'm like, mate, like, how is it so difficult? Like, because the reason why is because the entire afternoon he was getting told off for not remembering to do things that he was told to do. Like, like do your homework. And it's like he's actively choosing not to do it because like he has a schedule. All he has to do is check the schedule, of what he needs to do. And he's choosing to do, like, he has he's supposed to do some Polish, like practice his Polish by reading a book that Alex gave him. And instead of doing that, he's reading this other book that he wants to read, an English book. So he's obviously not practicing the Polish, but it's in his schedule that says you do Polish on this particular day, and then you read English on this other day. But he just choose, now I'm gonna read this other book because it's a Kobe Bryant book, like basketball, and he's into basketball.
Okay.
Or I would tell him, like, do a specific thing. And like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I told him, like, he's not allowed to pass this particular route on his way home from school because there's this kid who, like, attacked him before, who keeps trying to bully him at school.
Wow.
And it got real serious where we got the police involved and all that kind of stuff. But either way, I told him, don't pass there, like, because don't take that route because it's too close to where that kid passes to go home, because his house is closer to there. Take the other route, which is closer to us, and come home. I call him one afternoon, Xavi, where are you? And he's like, let me check landmarks and all this sort of nonsense. He, at the same time, at that point in time, I start checking his GPS on my phone. He is by the same park that I told him not to be by. I'm like, Xavi, I know where you are. And then he's like, I'm by the park. And I'm like, mate, wait till you get home. So at that point in time, I'm like, when he gets in, I'm like, what? Why were you at the park? Didn't I tell you not to go there? Oh, well, I saw him go another route. So I decided I'd go there. I thought it was okay to go there because he was walking with a friend. And I was like, that is not, if I tell you you're not supposed to do something, you're not supposed to do something. Right? Because the last time the kid jumped him at the park, he didn't even see the kid coming. Right? So basically stuff like that, like he's just making poor choices to do what he wants to do instead of doing what he's told to do.
Maybe it's a bit like what when they get a bit older.
You think it's what do you call that thing?
Yeah, it could be. Well, it could be hormones starting to play a bit also around. When they get a bit more like what like
he does do a lot of that.
Things aren't really triggering in the same pace or in the same like way it did before. It's not that more snappy kind of child thing. It's more getting into the teenager kind of more slow paced, reacting more to things than actually doing them already at first. That could be, it sounds a bit like that to me. I mean, I don't know him.
Did you have that with Adam and Isaac? Like, was that a thing?
A bit. I mean, yeah, because maybe if I have to think, maybe more Isaac than Adam. Maybe that has also to do with personalities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is a thing because when the chemistry box opens up within the body of a male or a female for that sense, but in this case, a male, and it's just, for me, that's the first thing I thought of when you were starting to describe exactly what is happening. So, yeah, I think just have that in mind because it could be things that he can't really 100% control. So it's don't be too harsh on him, I guess.
Well, I have.
I mean, I understand. We still have, the day
I have
by day
issued
life
the fear,
and things has to be done and
yes,
la-di-da,
exactly,
everything. I totally understand, but I'm just saying that it might be some tricks been also playing here, getting into the youth age and stuff like that.
I have considered because my brother mentioned something similar to that as well, and I've considered some stuff like that as well. Like I think that's in the mental equation, I guess. But if he actively chooses to not do what he's told or he's not making any effort, then yeah, he has been issued a few punishments.
Yeah.
So because for me, it's like you need, because the weirdest thing is that like he was doing that sort of stuff for quite a while. Then last year, November, I think, before he went to visit his grandmother, I think it was October, he went on vacation in New York. And before that, he was perfect. He wasn't doing that sort of stuff. He's doing everything on properly. He was doing he wasn't getting in trouble in school. He wasn't getting in trouble with us. He was doing everything perfectly. And then all of a sudden he went on vacation, and I told him what he was supposed to do on vacation. I said, help your grandmother out, be helpful and stuff like that, and listen to your mom. And yeah, you can you can play some games when when you're not doing any family oriented stuff. It got to the point where Alex had to take the game away from him, and then even when she told him no more time on the phone, he just snuck out on the veranda, on the balcony, and just went back to his phone. And I'm like, you actively choosing to like do what your mother told you not to do? Like that is wrong. Like, what are you doing? And so she ended up having to take his phone from him and all this sort of stuff. So it's stuff like that. It's like I think obviously, grandparents are like, they will usually try to like spoil you a bit, because you're only with them for
Sure.
a short period of time. Every time my mom hears me telling off the boys, she's always like, "Oh, like, don't be so hard on them, Wait till they come to visit. I'm gonna spoil them rotten." And I'm like, "Ugh, bloody hell!" All right, so
Of course, of course, that's the case. Yeah, yeah. But again, I think things goes a bit here and there and up and down, and also again, it sounds like it is actually maybe a bit of a reaction to
Mhm.
things. Some are deliberate and some aren't. I guess it's a mix here.
It is.
From what I can read or hear when you're talking about the situations here. So I I I I I agree with both of you, both of what you're saying, but also actually what your mom is saying. So it is true. It is a mix of things. I mean, he seems to be a really great guy and everything. Well,
He
both
is.
and
He
and
is.
and yeah, he is, and he's doing fine. It's just that it will come usually with at least one. If you have two kids, at least one will most likely be the one that gets more like the, well, we don't know yet with Ty, he's quite young, but with the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, around there, starts to react a bit like, No, I don't want to do that. Why would I do that? Those kind of like, yeah, shooing back,
Yep.
so it's
I think I was that kid for my mom. I think growing up, and I was so sweet as a kid, according to my mom. When I was like Ty's age or something, mom was like, "Oh, you were the perfect angel." And then by the time I got to like teenage years, my mom and we would always butt heads. We'd just always be getting into conflicts. It would barely last like
yeah.
I don't know, like maybe a week or two without us like having a disagreement of some sort.
Mm.
So
Yeah, but
yeah.
it can be it's quite normal, to be honest. I think a lot of families and I think even those that might be listening to the podcast can relate to it. Maybe remember your like discussions or heat coming up between maybe you or and your mom or you and your dad. I think in my case it was more
Hmm.
some situations with my dad than my mom, to be honest,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
at that point of age and things like that. And if you think about it, most of the time it wasn't really that like big things. It was more smaller things at the
Uh-huh.
time, you know.
Definitely, definitely.
But
So
yeah,
what about you? I mean, that's my week mainly. I mean, it's
yeah,
just mainly
sure,
been
yeah,
like trying to do the whole parenting thing properly
yeah,
and not,
I hear.
not mess up. And nothing really exciting happened other than the fact that, I forgot to mention this one part. Xavi got into this really good school. Like we were switching his schools. I'm not gonna go into
Uh-huh.
too much details about it because
I know.
obviously for his own privacy. But he got
Sure.
into this really good school, and we took him out on Sunday. We had a whole family get together.
Mm-hmm.
Both my brothers and my brother's kids and,
Yeah.
and Mrs. and everything. We went out and we had a nice meal, and it was nice, and sort of like everyone congratulated
Cool.
him on the new school, um and yeah, that was nice. So that's the only other thing that happened
Mm.
this week. Other than that,
Mm.
nothing really. So what
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, but good stuff. Yeah, it's been a kind of a normal week.
Hmm.
Also now, since I am getting older, but also my sons, I don't do parental stuff any longer. I'm done. I'm finished. I don't. No, I'm lying. Of course I am. The funny part is when your kids grow up,
Yeah.
and I think everyone can relate to this. You will
Hmm.
still be the dad or the mom, and I will still say things to them,
Yep.
even though they can take care of themselves in so many ways. But that's
Hmm.
just how it is. It's
Yeah.
kind of neat in a way. Uh,
They still have to have that respect for whatever, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is what it is, and I can understand now. Also, I mean, still have my mom is still alive, and
Hmm.
I mean, we talk about this a bit as well. It's kind of funny. You can, especially when you yourself get a bit older, and also you have older kids, then you can understand much more why you've always heard like or still when I was touring. traveling with Cremata, going for these tours to different places around the world, she was like, "Well, remember now to be careful and don't be out too late," or like something like that. And it's kind of sweet, I know I know or knew that she just wanted my best, and it could be something like when still Dad was alive, that you could almost hear him in the background. Well, remember to tell him that that, and then Mom, yeah, Dad just wanted to tell you that he thinks that. Okay,
You
it's
know
funny.
what? The parents, you once your parents, your parents for life. That's basically it.
Exactly. That's the bottom line. But with that said, it's been a good week, I think. I have been quite, if we talk about what I'm doing, I've been quite productive.
Mm-hmm.
It felt good with that part. We had a nice rehearsal, I think, Thursday. We tried the new keys after they changed the lock over to the corridor where our rehearsal studio is. It
Mm-hmm.
worked. Good, good, good.
Hmm.
We're thinking about putting an extra lock on
You
our
should.
door,
You
actually. Yeah,
definitely
I think
should.
we should. Yeah, I think we should. At least make it much harder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. We had some time. Adam came over. When was that? It was Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
First, I think me and Isaac went to the gym. Adam came. Annalie was eating lunch with some former work colleagues and friends.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam came over, and we just went literally like if you remember our backyard here
Yeah.
and a bit further, I pointed out, well, that's where our sons went to school. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally just 250 meters like down the road or whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
Behind there, there's been like fairly new like houses and places built for different reasons, mostly for people to live in. And there was one flat that was for apartment that was for sale. So Adam went to check it out,
Mm-hmm.
So I just followed him. I was curious also to finally see how it looked inside. It was a nice apartment, really good.
Is he
So I
thinking about
don't.
moving home?
Uh well, in a way, I mean, the apartment was good. The surroundings are good. Well, he knows this place, so it's
Mm-hmm.
good. Nice suburb of Stockholm on the south side.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only downside might be that there's no, in a way, for us living here, especially maybe also when you are a bit older, it's kind of nice that there's like no subway here,
Mm-hmm.
because it's only buses, so it kind of not bring like everyone to to here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So, but with that said, he has to be very, on time with everything if it's going to catch like the buses to get to work, to
Yeah.
the gaming studio at
Mm-hmm.
in the south part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I mean, it's not a super long travel. I think the main problem is that the buses aren't going that frequent after a
Mm-hmm.
certain time in the evening. I think
Yeah.
that's what he thinks mostly about, because they work late sometimes, and he usually work out after work and stuff like that. So he might get home at like 8,
What about
maybe.
driving? What about if he
Yeah, that,
drove?
that that's a thing. But the traffic here,
Mm-hmm.
especially in rush hour, is horrible. And also to
Mm-hmm.
find a parking lot might even be a bigger thing.
Yeah.
I mean, during the season now, well, maybe during summer he could do that. I mean, due to the car he has and everything. But we'll see. I mean, he continues to check out apartments. This is not like the only object he has been looking at. And but I can understand. He starts to think it's good. He starts to think about that. And now that he has been working for quite some years, and as you know, he's done some good earnings. So
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
he can definitely do that. Even though the market it's not the best, like when it comes to the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that has to do with, there we go again, with the whole freaking situation in the world.
Yeah.
But that's another chapter. But even so, he will continue to look. So I guess that's mainly been my week. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
nice combination of some, when you feel that you've done some good work, but also some nice time with both friends and family. I
Mm-hmm.
would kind of wrap it up like that, I guess.
That's pretty cool. I have to
Yeah.
say it is pretty cool. For me personally, I hope he does move close by. Because I know you guys
Yeah, I don't
hang out
mind.
really well, and
Yeah, exactly.
like being able to, because I know you and Isaac go to the gym now, but being able to, the three of you, to go to the gym again like you used to, would be pretty cool. And then
Hmm.
being able to I guess maybe because I don't know if you guys game the same way now that he where he lives now. But I'm
No, we
assuming not
don't.
as
No, we
frequently.
don't.
So
No.
it would be, I guess, him being closer to home, you would more likely than not probably game in a similar way more frequently with each other because you know he's home or something like that, or he's just
Yeah.
right there and
Yeah.
so forth. So that'd be pretty chill
Mm,
to have in that regard.
sure.
That being said, let's jump into some gaming.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I will say start with I have not been playing Marvel Midnight Sun all week this week, even though the gameplay on the screen is Midnight Sun because that's the only bloody gameplay I have footage of right now.
Nothing
But
bad with
I've
that.
been
No.
playing a new game starting since last week Thursday, I think, called One Piece Odyssey, which is a
Mhm.
new One Piece game. It's a turn-based RPG in a
Oh.
similar vein to RPGs like Persona, right? So like the Persona
Aha.
series, like Persona 5, it's similar to that. Now of course it being a Bandai Namco, a Shonen Jump anime, it is published by Bandai Namco. So they're the ones behind it. The game has been released for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC,
Mhm.
and Xbox Series X and S. I just want to give a shout out to the person who got me the game. Shout out to my boy Ratcha, who's one of my regulars from my streams. Ratcha got me a copy of the game. And
Cool.
because he wanted me to check it out and give an opinion on it. So
Nice.
I haven't finished a review or any kind of like opinionated piece on it so far. What I
Mm.
can say though is that I am enjoying the game. It does have some shortcomings because like some of it is like I find it's a bit too easy at this point. Like I've figured out the mechanics and they're super easy, and it means that I'm not getting challenged. And I think if you're playing a game and you're not getting
Okay.
challenged, it kind of gets a bit stale to a certain extent with regards to
Yes.
that aspect of it. With regards to the story, I'm liking it. Like it's
Mhm.
good voice acting. It's the short crew from the manga and the anime, and I like that aspect of it because I'm a fan of One Piece. So I'm enjoying that part of it. I'm not
Mm.
enjoying the whole I'm not enjoying the whole combat at this. Like I was enjoying it at first, but now
Yeah.
it's too easy. And I can see how they can fix it because they can just scale up the difficulty, make it take longer to kill enemies and so, and that'll be fine. But now it's so easy that I can hit an enemy one hit and they die, and that is lame.
Okay.
That is really really too easy for me. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if I'm doing the game wrong. Maybe I've leveled up too high or something. Maybe I was supposed to be a lower level and I'm way over the level I'm supposed to be at. But
What about
that
the difficulty level? Sorry.
there's no difficulty option. I've
There
been
is no.
looking for that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
There's none. I'm hoping if there isn't, if there's a maybe someone who releases a patch or something. If
Mm.
granted, I'm early game though, so I'm like 5 hours
Yeah.
in, so I'm really early in the game. But I'm hoping that if there's no difficulty that spikes after the point where I'm at, I'm gonna have to like look for a patch or something maybe that can
Yeah.
add some difficulty to it. Or if not, I'm literally just not. I'm gonna just not do any sort of like side stuff and not go off the beaten path and just stick to the main story and hope that maybe I'll end up on the level at some point and have to have a challenge. So that's One Piece Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's one of the first JRPGs to come out for this year. I'm playing it on Steam on the PC, and it's pretty good. It is pretty good. I am enjoying it so far, excluding the difficulty.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically what I'm playing. What about you, Raj? What are you playing?
Mm. It's interesting that you were talking about having a challenge or getting something that makes you want to become better or
Hmm.
play hard, if that makes sense. We have touched base about these kind of things a bit before when it comes to gaming.
Hmm.
I don't know if your perspective, like the whole perspective on your behalf when it comes to like JRPGs and games like that you mainly play. But for me,
Hmm.
when it comes to FPS gaming, since I've been doing that for a long time, um, I don't know. It's interesting now. I've talked about Modern Warfare 2 before, the newest Call of Duty that is now about to last for 2 years since they are changing the cycle of development.
Hmm.
And I kind of enjoyed Modern Warfare 2019, even though there was like flaws with that game because it's the same developer, it's Infinity Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that might be compared to, and even say that, well, the game that came out now is more like a reskin of the former game, which is in a way true. They are very similar, although there's been changes, of course, and you start to realize that more when you play more and yeah, get the
Mm-hmm.
know-how. But I made a video recently because I just felt that the games I'm mainly now thinking about me again as an FPS gamer, and of course also playing a lot of multiplayer still. And I could make a comparison when it comes to some older games, like how the games were playing before. And I'm thinking about like these iconic titles such as Call of Duty 4 and
Mm-hmm.
from that was 2007, right? And then 2008, World at War, which is actually two of my favorites in the whole franchise of Call of Duty. There's been so many games through the years now. And I went back and played them. I sometimes do that and do videos how they're doing and how it feels to play these games in 2023 now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a combination of, and I think we have to mention that, of being a bit nostalgic because you have certain memories, maybe from that time, maybe you were younger and were enjoying the games in a different way. I don't know. But I was also a bit sad to see that when it comes to the core gameplay, the gunplay, and most features, these games still plays better than some of the newer games, or most of them, like recently. And why I'm saying that is because my feeling now is that it has so much to do with the whole business model and towards the group of players that, in this case, Activision and Infinity Ward are targeting, and
Mm-hmm.
why they're doing that. And what I'm trying to say is that I feel that when I'm playing, let's say, Modern Warfare 2 2022, I feel that the design is pushing away better players,
Mm-hmm.
literally. The whole way of how they slow down the pacing of the game,
Mm-hmm.
the movement, sprint to fire, caters towards more like a different kind of play style, forces you almost to play in one or at least or mostly two ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really like that, and I see that there's I don't know what to say. They've also, if you look at the kill streaks, like I talked about the older games,
Mm-hmm.
and later on they were stronger. They were really, you could really dominate out of the players if you were good at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have a discussion if that was a good or a bad thing, but that was the thing. It meant that if you sucked at the game, you would be punished. So you
Yeah.
had two choices: either spit in your hands and try to get better, or
Mm-hmm.
stop playing the game. That's not the case nowadays, because even though I put on my competitive face and I
Mm-hmm.
really do well, I still get in situations where I die, where I just feel that I shouldn't die.
Mm-hmm.
And it has also to do with the fast TTK. So if
Mm-hmm.
I move and someone is crouch walking around in the corners, I have no chance because they're just there, they're scoping in, and I gonna die because I can't react to it. I can't
Mm-hmm.
turn around and reply fire and get the kill, which I most likely would
Mm-hmm.
in another game. And it's just it's frustrating. And I know a lot of people, and I think this is one of the reasons why the last months has been bad overall, not only for the multiplayer Modern Warfare 2, but also the whole like free to play Warzone 2.0 and Warzone DMC that I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually playing some. I'm streaming it on a kind of a continuous basis.
Mm-hmm.
Players are leaving. I mean, it's not the only reason, but there are things that are pointing towards this as well, because they are making, as it feels like game. Um, how should I call it? Noob safe. It's like there's no incentive really longer for someone to really try to get better at the game because you don't need to. It's like, yeah, I needed to get this out of my system. Apparently,
You know what's something really funny? I think that is
yeah.
something that's happening with pretty much every multiplayer game, especially the ones that have gone the live service route.
Mm,
Um they just are like I have the exact same experience with eFootball. eFootball
Aha.
2023. I've literally like after the last update, I think they put out an update in December or something. Of they put out an update, and literally since that update has come out, the game has been like they've been patching here and there and stuff like that. And it's
Mm.
sometimes it feels a bit better, sometimes it feels a bit worse. This has been the worst it's felt like when it comes to defending. Like it feels like
Oh.
FIFA now. It's like the ball just goes back and forth across the field. Defending is a lot more flimsy. You know, it's a lot easier for people to score goals on you. AI is doing all sorts of weird stuff and, you know, letting easy goals happen and all that kind of stuff. And it just feels like no matter what match you play, you're guaranteed to be scored on. You could, and before, if you're skilled enough, like one of the things I used to pride myself on in this game is that I've got really good defensive skills. So
Mm.
even if I don't score on you, you're not scoring on me. That's basically what that was
Ah,
basically
okay.
my thing. So I used to get quite a few decent you know, clean sheets playing the game. Nowadays, I can barely ever get a clean sheet. Even when I'm literally dominating the match and I'm scoring goals, as soon as the opposition gets a chance, literally, the weirdest things happen. Like the ball comes through. I've positioned my defender exactly where they need to be to block the ball, and I will just go through their legs. Even though I'm like standing, like previously, I could. That's one of the reasons why I could play so well was because I can position my defenders in places that you're not going to be able to get the ball past them,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I can still put them in those places. They'll just not get the ball, essentially, is what happens. So,
Mm.
sometimes they just randomly let the ball go past them. And I find that really weird and
Hmm.
it's irritating, just in I guess to say the
Why do you
least.
think that is happening? Why do you think that has
I think it's
changed?
exactly what you said. They're making it noob friendly. They're making these games
Oh, god
friendly
damn it.
to the kind of people that would spend a lot of money on these live services and stuff like
There
that.
we
Like,
go.
you know,
There we go.
children and stuff like that. Once they've gotten addicted to the formula, I think if it's all skill based, then you keep people from then some people will drop the game inevitably because well they're
Yeah.
not good enough, you know. So
Mm.
you will
Mm.
reach a certain point and then you'll turn back.
Mm.
Whereas if it's you know just flimsy like that, even the most crap player can win a match, you know, that they
Yeah, there
otherwise
we go.
shouldn't, you
There we
know.
go. That's the my experience as well. I think that's a dangerous path to go as developers or in publishers, and I think
Hmm.
this will, if also interesting to hear this because I didn't know this, but it's
Yeah.
nice that you're talking about it because apparently it's of course in other games and genres as well. I realize that,
Hmm.
and but I just believe that you can't for a long time do things like that, and where you don't give again the incentive to actually get a challenge or get better at a game. I
Hmm.
don't understand what's the reason then. I mean, why? It's like almost people who choose to cheat because they're
It
too
is like that.
lazy or don't want to really play the game as it meant to be. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Come on.
It does it is pretty much
It,
like that.
yeah, it's like built-in cheats almost, if that makes sense. Like some kind of lubricate version of the game that you're just like sliding through the hard parts. I don't understand. But it's interesting. It's an interesting, and of course, it could be a topic of itself of discussion. But
Definitely.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely. It definitely could be a topic of discussion. The
yeah.
the rampant change of live service games to multiplayer, the softening
Mm.
of the multiplayer
Yeah, there we go.
genre.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
True.
that's basically what it is. We're getting
Yeah,
softer, and it's getting
yeah.
easier and easier to, I guess, play these games.
Mm, mm.
Where when and I've actually heard my brothers complain about certain aspects of the game, but at first I wasn't noticing it, but they were noticing it more so, and then now
Okay.
the more it's gotten diluted, the more I'm noticing it as well
All
now.
right.
You know, because
Mm,
I'm just like crap. You know,
mm.
I think one reviewer who reviews eFootball, the way he put it was that you can't play any sort of real possession base or sort of like hold up play football in the game anymore because the game just doesn't allow you to, you
Ah,
know.
there you go. There you
So you're
go.
forced to play only
Yeah,
basically one style of football, which is
and
knock the
that's what I
ball
tried
and true
to
ball.
say. Yeah.
Hmm.
Sorry to hear. Sorry to hear that. the limitations right there.
Yeah.
That's what I tried to describe too when I talked about the game pushes you to play a certain way.
Yeah.
I don't like that. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be like that. It's
Shouldn't.
like
It shouldn't, but it
no, but
is.
it's yeah. But anywho, I mean, I guess that's the gaming for us because we also need some time to talk about what we have been watching, and I'm really glad that you took the time to or was able to watch something that I talked about last week,
Mm-hmm. It's
which is
actually been quite a while since last we actually watched the same series at the same time. So
true, true. It's been a kind of an unsync kind of thing, but
yes, yeah. I think what was the last series we watched at the same time? Was it The Walking Dead or Game of
I,
Thrones?
Game of Thrones, I guess.
Probably Game of Thrones.
Because Walking Dead was like before that, and
Yeah.
then we both stopped at a certain point, which kind of happens with such a series.
Yep,
So I think Game
definitely.
of Thrones actually.
So this is the first time in ages that we're actually going to be able to week in, week out talk about a series that we're both watching, which is excited. I have to
Yeah, that's
say.
nice. That's nice.
Yes. So I've seen episode 1, which you mentioned. You spoke about the series last week, but you were brief because obviously I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But now we can go into it. And spoiler warning for those of you who haven't seen the series. You may want to
Yes.
skip the rest of the show because that's all we're going to be talking about for the rest of this. But anyway, that being said, see episode 1. What did you think actually about episode 1, like in detail?
In detail,
Yes, as much you can go into detail now because we both seen it. So like you could if
Well-
there's something you want to say, you could say it.
Well, first off, since I played the game,
Mhm.
I was a bit surprised what happened in the start when they
Mhm.
had this kind of, almost excerpt from a TV show when they had this discussion with the scientists regarding, these fungi and what can happen to mankind.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, I thought that worked because
Yeah.
it kind of has to, but it explains a bit what might come, and of course also the difference from what most people are used to if we're talking like zombies or whatever. It's
Mhm.
mostly a virus, like Umbrella Corporation leaks a virus, which is not the case here. It's partly a trick by nature, or things gonna happen. We'll see about that, but it's a tough thing to meet, and there's really no cure. We can say that. That's also a bit of a spoiler, but that's basically what it is. And then time flies, and years passes, and then things starts to happen. And I think I said already in the first last time that I was happy to see the casting as it is.
Mhm.
I like Pablo as Joel.
Mhm.
Again, I refer to the game a bit here, and also Ellie,
Mhm.
the actress from actually from
They're
Game of
actually
Thrones.
both
Yeah.
from Game of Thrones. Actually,
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing because I was like, at first when I knew her instantly. Like I was like, I know who she is.
Exactly.
With
Yeah.
him, like I forgot he was in Game of Thrones, and then I saw an image of him from Game, and I was like, wait, he was in Game of Thrones. He's the pretty boy guy, the one who got his he fought the mountain, and he got. But yes, go on. Do
Yeah,
tell.
no, it's fine. And recently, of course, mostly known for for example, Mandalorian, the series and things like that. No, but I like them, and she's really good too. I mean, she's still young. She's supposed to be 14 here in the series and everything. And I think Tess works well for me too.
Yes.
Of course, it's also special again. I mean, I know, and this is also something I said. I'm positive when it comes to the fact that they are following the game quite some. This is one of and I think the critics have said that as well, that, well, look at this now, it actually works, you can do that, and you will come out pretty, well cooked on the other side, so
Yep.
in a positive way. So I like that. I have just been enjoying, actually. I don't... I want you to fill in here, since you have been watching now also the first episode, and
I
what are
think
your thoughts and
I think for
impressions?
me,
I mean, first of all, you didn't play the game, right?
I'll be honest.
Or?
I watched the entire first game. I didn't
Yeah,
I
look
didn't
at that now.
actually so
You know
with The
a lot.
Last of Us, that was actually one of the first games I've ever watched on an entire stream of.
Okay, cool.
Because what happened is that at the time when The Last of Us came out, I didn't really take to it. I was more or less playing other games. So this is despite the fact that I was already an Uncharted fan, but I wasn't really. I think it was at that point in time when we were just getting zombie game after zombie game. So I was just like, another zombie game, right?
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, you know what? I'm not likely to buy this because I'm fed up of all these zombie games, and so I'll just watch someone else play it. And so I got I just pulled up a YouTube 1 hour long full playthrough and watched that whole thing, and I just got hooked. I watched the whole thing from beginning to end, and I told myself, because of the fact that I enjoyed watching it, I am gonna purchase a copy of the game. I haven't done it yet, so
no.
But I'm not, it's a good thing I didn't, because actually no, I do have a copy of it on PlayStation, on PS4. Sorry, but I do want to get it on PC now because it's come to PC, and I think obviously it's going to be best on PC because PC. So generally speaking, that's my knowledge of The Last of Us. I have I have a full notion of the story from that, with Ellie and Joel and all that kind of stuff. And watching it and then watching the show now was so interesting for me, like. Obviously they've taken some creative liberties with how they've cast the characters. Like the character that plays Joel's daughter is cast differently to the type of character that they had in the game with regards to ethnicity.
Yeah.
And then you have a few other creative liberties that they've taken, like you mentioned, with regards to the whole script in the beginning about the like the sort of television show. And I think those things just add to it. Like, I don't think the switch of the daughter detracted in any way, shape, or form. Not sure why they had to do it, but they did it, and it doesn't add or take away anything. It just is. So that was fine. Granted, it was kind of sad knowing that, because for me, everyone else watching with me, because I watched this with Xavier and Alex, everyone else watching with me did not know what was coming, and I did. And that was kind of, and I'm wondering, was it similar with your family? Like, because I know you watched this with the family as well. Did they know what was coming or not?
Me and Isaac. I mean, Adam is watching where he lives since he doesn't live at home. We've talked about the series mainly, and he likes it too. But me, Annalie, and Isaac are watching together. And it's so funny. Annalise asking questions, but do we get to know how this happened? And stuff like that. Just wait, try to wait, sit and watch. But me and Isaac definitely. I mean, especially if we're getting into episode 2, I knew where we were heading. I knew what would happen. I was waiting for that moment with Tess, and
I was waiting for it too. I was actually, to be honest, with the moment with Tess, I actually kind of forgot it until I think it was when they were in the room with all the clickers running around.
Yeah.
And then you had the scene where Ellie and Joel were kind of underneath one of them. And then Tess came out, he took out one, and Joel asked, "Are you all right?" And she's like, "Oh, I sprained my ankle." I was like, bloody hell, she got bit.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I forgot about that. And then I was like, holy shit, like, it is gonna be, it's gonna get interesting again.
Indeed, this is the good thing here with this, like as the game was, it's a really good like build up.
Yes,
because it all leads like it's like an upside down pyramid. People are leaving or dying, if we put it like that. Again, it's spoilers. So we're getting down to Ellie and Joel, and how their relationship will continue to like, I would say, grow. We can say that.
We can say blossom,
because because they get very, they depend on each other, after that this has happened and everything. But I also have to mention, since you talked about the scene with the clickers in this museum, I really like that. I was, you're always curious to see how they're gonna do with the action, and the clickers and everything. And I think it worked out really well. That was partly a bit like scary, even though I'm not that easily scared anymore. But I felt though that it's there, and I also like that it given kind of a feel of the way you also played the game. I mean, sometimes you did have to fire your gun, but you tried really to just avoid them from hearing you, meaning playing stealth, like as they did, go low behind like cover,
Mm-hmm.
like a desk or something, trying to change direction. So it made sense. It made sense because you want to save your bullets. You don't have so much, or
And you don't want to make noise because they're gonna come for you.
exactly.
Like
They're
they're
gonna
gonna
attract
swarm you.
more. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So because that's literally, of course, what happened then in the city hall or whatever that was. Where Tess. Yeah, where they separated
This
due
is
to
one of
the
the
fact
things.
just yeah.
I think there's one of the things I was wondering about. Like I couldn't remember if this actually happened in the game or not. The whole thing about if you disturb one, a bunch of them will swarm from somewhere else. Is that a thing from the game? Because I can't remember that.
I don't recall or remember when it comes to when she explained for Ellie, like Tess explained for Ellie,
Hmm.
the kind of nervous system in the ground when it comes
Yeah.
to the whole fungi thing,
Hmm.
meaning that they connect like
Hmm.
in a kind of collective consciousness.
Hmm.
That I can't really remember. I was
Same.
more to what you just said before. Okay, sound and the close ones will come.
Hmm.
Here it was more than that. It
Yeah.
was a signal, more or less, from a dying, partly becoming a clicker. That kind of,
Hmm.
and they reacted. So that I don't really remember.
Hmm.
There's of course one thing that is not true to the game or the idea of it, which can be a bit. It doesn't bother me because again,
Hmm.
I like the series so much as a whole. So it's one of those things, but it's a detail that is a bit weird. When they're getting into these places now with clickers or infection, you might say,
Hmm.
the fungus and everything, they don't wear gas masks,
Yeah. Oh
which
yeah,
is a
that was
bit
true. Because you would have the spores in the air,
exactly.
and they would put on the gas
Yes.
mask to go into those places. That is
Yes.
true. I remember that from the game because you had to sort of like
But
conserve your you conserve the sort of like the breeding stuff,
But
But
then again, you had the kind of cynical comment from Isaac, of course. Well, if they have gas masks in the series, you can't see the famous faces.
true,
It's
true.
like,
That is so true. That
I'm
is
like, yeah,
exactly. You're paying the money for that, so
yep,
might as well.
exactly. But that's a detail that is a bit. It's a bit because it's like the spores, like from the
Mhm.
fungi, so you shouldn't inhale them. But okay, that's the
I
thing.
think the
And
other thing too, if I remember correctly, no, I'm not sure if my memory is 100% on this. Everyone is
me
already
neither.
infected in The Last of Us. It's just once you die, you change. Isn't that how it is? Or is that The Walking Dead I'm thinking
Yes,
about?
yes, I think it's partly true, and I say partly because still it is a thing. It's quite a strong, like, well, what you mostly see here, at least now, is that you turn. Yeah, exactly. You turn by getting
Bitten.
bitten, right?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
So you get bitten and then
So
you.
it's like, and the scene, I have to say, talking about that, the scene,
With Tess.
again, spoilers, with Tess,
Uh.
when they came into this hall and she was standing there, she put out all these like gasoline and shit on the floor, trying
Mhm.
to start the fire. And this clicker comes, oh god, it
And it
comes to
just
her and
mouths her.
yeah, mouth her, like kiss her. Like we're not talking tongue kissing here. We're talking fungi tentacle kissing.
I could just like again, like imagine that scene with her. Like, when you just think about it, it's like that must like for her. She already knew that
Yeah.
it was her time. That she was not gonna
Yes.
come leave that thing. And just imagining her like looking at that thing up close and thinking to herself, "Oh my god, I'm gonna turn into this."
Yeah. The
And
last
then
thing you see, it's like, oh my god, now it's
is
oh,
is horrible. That's a horrible
tense
way to
moment.
go, and especially because
Yes.
they knew that she was one of them from the minute they came in. Like
Yeah.
that's why it came up to her and just did the whole thing. Like it was like you're one of
Exactly.
us. It didn't
Yeah.
even, like didn't jump her, bite her, anything. She
No.
was one. Which is one of the things that kind of concerns me with Ellie in the sense that she can't get infected.
No.
But when they bite her, I'm surprised that they don't just think, "Oh, she's one of us because we've bitten her already." But I guess nah, they just attack, and Ellie just like shrugs it off when she hasn't gotten enough severe damage, and she
Mm.
goes on like normal.
Yeah.
But it is hella creepy. It is. I have to say
Yeah.
they did the clickers really well.
Mm.
I was loving it. Alex was straight up like, "Q, you better not do that to me," like because she knows I'll probably like be walking through the house like. At a random time. Yeah, she's like, you better not go messing around with no clicking songs. I was like, yeah. But yeah,
But yeah, it's nice. It's really a good. I was also happy to hear that it's actually the original music also from the game,
that's good.
which doesn't happen all the time. My mom was talking about the Halo series before. We're not getting into that now again, but
Yep.
it's not the original music. I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, but in this case, I was glad to hear that it's there.
They did a
So
good job. Like they actually, you
yeah,
can tell that the people who worked on this are actual fans of the game, or at
yeah,
least they've played the games and understand the source material enough. I think with a lot of series where you see stuff like you mentioned Halo, I don't think the people who work on those stuff have really consumed the source
no,
material or fully
no,
understand the
exactly.
appeal of it. Because like you mentioned before with Master Chief, like the whole mask removal thing,
Yeah,
that is a
right.
thing that is sort of like um it's in transit to his character. You just don't know what his face looks like.
Yeah.
He never really takes the mask off. That's basically it, And he's sort of like Samus from what do you call it, from Metal Gear, who just runs
Mm,
around in her armor, and the only time it comes off is if she gets killed or something, in the game, and then it bursts off of
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
It's part of his character, that whole facade of who is underneath the mask thing. And I think
Mm.
seeing a face weakens that effect, because then you see a face and it's like, so it's a guy, like he looks like me or something, or he just it's not like,
Mm.
we all have our imaginary version of what Master Chief looks like, and it is a guy in a suit, that we can't see. That's basically
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
A disembodied voice behind a mask. So I think when you have series like this where they actually understand the source material and they do justice, it feels so good and it's so enjoyable to
yeah,
watch.
yeah.
Because I could see a lot of people now picking up The Last of Us, the game, as
Yeah,
well,
right, right.
because of this, especially now that it's on PC. Because
Yeah.
I believe it launched on PC recently, isn't it? Let me see. Like, it would make sense that Sony would, because I know Sony were putting it the remastered version.
Yeah.
They had planned to put it on PC, but I don't know if it's launched yet. So I'm gonna do a quick check. Epic is
Yeah.
taking very long to load for some
By the
reason.
way, meanwhile, I just wanted to put in there, I'm happy to see that there are actually some Swedes involved in the series when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to The Last of Us. Johan Renck, that was, I think he did the pilot for the series because he was the guy behind the Chernobyl TV drama. Have you seen Chernobyl?
I
Did you
have
ever
you
do
took
that?
we spoke about it on the podcast before, and I
Yeah,
remember you highly recommended it, and I had
I
planned
do.
to check
Yeah, I
it,
do.
but
Yeah,
I
it's good.
haven't seen it yet. It's
Sure.
it's it's
No,
still
no.
on. I think Alex watched it.
Okay.
So yeah. Also
Yeah, but
with
it's good. It's one
regards.
more thing, and one more
Mhm,
thing.
yeah.
Episode 8 and 9 will be directed by a Swedish Iranic director called Ali Abbasi. So I'm looking
Really.
forward to that too. Yeah, so
Uh,
it's nice to be a small part of this
you know what?
this event.
Maybe there'll be a Trini in there. Maybe playing a
Yeah,
clicker.
hopefully. I don't know much about Trin movies, but I guess someone must be dedicated to the task.
There is a Trini series, superhero series that's ongoing right now. A friend of
Hmm.
mine is the director of it,
Cool.
and
Yeah.
I don't currently have a way for us to view it right now.
No.
I do need to like hit him up and like find out, because
Mm.
obviously I don't want, because of the fact that this is his work. I don't want to obviously pirate this thing. This is something that you want to
No,
like
no.
show the support
In
for.
this case.
So I don't currently know. I
No.
should know, because this is my good friend, and I don't currently know where it is, because all of his previous series I have watched that he's worked on, but this one is
Mm.
like a superhero series and it's doing really well. Like, it's blowing up, or pretty in TT, and I think in other countries as well.
Cool.
So I need to find out how to watch it and then sit down and actually watch it, which we'll definitely check it out at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah. With regards to The Last of Us on PC, it's actually coming out March the 3rd. So it's not out on PC yet, which is interesting. Now is probably the best time to drop something like that, because
Yeah, that's smart actually, you know.
it would sell easier that way. But
Mm.
at the same time, you know what? It's fine. It will still sell anyway. It's bloody Last of Us. So it's coming. The Last of Us Part 1, they call it. That's what they call it now. So
Okay.
The Last of Us Part 1 releases on PC on the 3rd of March.
Cool.
And it's $49.99 US dollars on Epic Game Store. So for here in the UK, it would probably be $39.99 if I bought it from possibly Steam, because I would probably buy it from Steam than Epic. I prefer Steam over Epic for the most part. So when it does drop inevitably, I guess that's where I'll get it from. So let me add it to my wish list now.
Let's get that done.
I hope it's actually £49.99. Wow. It's not even...
Yeah. And talking about like, this is the fact that it's coming out on PC, but I also want to mention that on Friday there will be the remake of the first Dead Space game.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. They've actually added things into the game that wasn't there in the original game.
Are you going to be streaming it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think I will play it actually. And it doesn't mean that I'm not interested, but I have to think about. It also has to do with what I buy and not when it comes to the economic aspect of things right now, and also the fact. I mean, I have played it, but ask Isaac on the other hand. He has played the first game, I think, 5 times. That's how much he likes it. So he will definitely get it. I mean, he will get it and play it. The problem for me also is that I have. And I said it before, I need to, if I'm going to start to play those games like that demands it, that's the problem also when I'm started to try to stream Callisto. My PC is too weak, since I have a weaker build right now. So that has to be upgraded before I can like fully enjoy those kind of games like in the best of ways.
It's fully understandable. That is fully understandable.
Yeah, that it is what it is with that aspect, but it's cool. Yeah.
Okay, noted. Well, I mean, if Isaac's getting a copy of it, then you technically have a copy.
It's in the family at least.
Yeah,
it's here, so
you could easily just jump on, because
exactly.
Like, for example, Xavi has NBA 2K on his Switch. Technically speaking, I have NBA 2K. His account is logged in on my Switch. I could just like download it and play it. So it's no issue for me. So yeah, that's when someone in the family owns it, it is owned. It's basically it. All right, so we've gotten to the end part of the podcast. Raj, what do you think? How was today?
Yeah, is this?
You have some fun?
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun, but
it
is kind of a part that I'm missing, isn't it? Isn't there something?
The thing that we usually write about now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thing called
shout out for your podcast
channel.
Channel in this case.
I say or channel. I honestly like this week. We honestly don't have a shout out either. No. Yeah, it's been quite a few weeks of like no shout outs because when it comes to creating like working on stuff like creating content and stuff like that, like you just don't find time to watch other people's shit half the time. So I have not been not that I haven't been watching stuff, it's just stuff that I've already shot. We've shouted out quite a few times already on the show. It's sort of redundant at this point in time. So to shout out something right now doesn't really do anything for us. So yeah, essentially no shout out this week. Hopefully maybe I'll jump into something new. I don't know. Maybe I'll find time for a podcast that I haven't listened to yet, or because I have some podcasts loaded up on my phone that I have not listened to before, but it's sort of like they're new podcasts, and I'm like so invested in my current shit. I just don't. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to what I already like, or I already know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially when there's limited time, you gotta choose.
You do.
So I totally understand.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right.
So with that, Raj, how about we get out of here? I need to have breakfast. I haven't eaten yet. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I literally got up, give Ty breakfast, and then I came and sat down here. So haven't eaten.
It's like a clicker stomach. Almost.
To be frank, my stomach isn't grumbling for whatever reason.
It isn't.
I don't know why. I don't actually feel the hunger at the moment. but
Mm.
I know I haven't eaten yet, so I need to eat.
Oh, it's
So
gone that far, beyond like feeling
no, it
hunger.
didn't even
No?
grumble. That's the weirdest thing. Like I didn't
Okay.
have any grumbles. Didn't I know when you go through the whole grumble and then eventually you get to a point where
Exactly.
your stomach is like, well, screw you then. I don't give a shit anymore. But
Exactly. Interesting
I haven't gotten to
physical.
that yet. I don't know if
Uh,
maybe because I went to bed pretty late last night after we watched The Last of Us, because we finished at midnight, and then
it could be. Yeah,
and then
I don't
Alice
know.
needed me to stay with her, so I stayed till like maybe like 2 a.m. till she fell asleep
Oh,
proper.
oh my.
And
Yeah.
then I went to bed. So I don't know. I was eating popcorn and drinking juice while I was watching it. So I don't know if that has a part to play or not.
Yeah,
But
it could be. Either way, we're gonna close shop. I
yeah,
just want to say this. Thanks a lot for listening. It's very much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed, and hope to talk to you guys again next week. As always, we've given you some tips when it comes to, well, this is a great one. Last of Us on HBO Max. Love it. Already looking forward to episode 3 next week. So stay tuned for that, and we're going to talk a bit about that as well. And some video gaming, some classic games, some good stuff, new and old, all together. Take care, my friends. Stay healthy, and let's be careful out there. Muffin and out.
beautiful as always. So we have gotten to the end of the episode of That Beautiful Life. I'm gonna head out of here and do some. I need to do some gameplay capture and start preparing to work on some new videos. And I know Roger's gonna be probably working on some music. So that being said, you can find Roger streaming today actually, because he streams on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Sunday. That's correct.
Super correct.
Ooh, he's gonna. I'm assuming you're. What are you streaming anyway at this point in time?
Oh, well, today I'm going to play Planetside 2.
Okay, Planetside 2. So you can catch him playing some Planetside 2. I may try to pop in your stream at some point during the stream because I haven't been in your stream in a minute. So
Hey, by the way, talking about
mhm.
streaming, this should be done off stream, but I'm going to ask you here officially.
Yeah.
If you feel like it, if you have the time, join in on Sunday because I actually put up a Dead by Daylight stream. That was some time ago.
Okay.
So
I think that sounds good. I think
that would be fun if you could join. That
I
would be
think I
great.
should be able. I think I should be able to join on Sunday.
Yeah.
Honestly haven't made any plans for Sunday yet.
Okay.
At least as far as I'm aware. So I
Sure.
should be able to stream on Sunday, especially because on Saturday I'm doing something where I'm basically giving Alex the entirety of Saturday night to herself. Essentially. So we've got this very close friend of ours, who Alex is gonna go over and stay with her, and she's
Oh.
gonna drop off her son over at ours. So I'm gonna take
Okay.
care of
I
all the
get it.
kids, and
Yeah,
they're
right.
gonna be able to stay up and drink and chat and have wine and all that, and just have a nice ladies' night where they don't have to think about kids. And so she's gonna have all of Saturday to herself. So on Sunday, I'm expecting like when she gets back. I told her come back in the afternoon. So when she gets back in the afternoon time, I should be free.
Yeah,
I'll just
that would be great. Then hopefully you can join in and play with me and some others. That would be beautiful.
definitely. Definitely. I need to actually start putting together my plans for the lads for the weekend. Like I need to go pick up some refreshments for what we're gonna
Yeah.
have, and yeah. With that being said, you guys will find out more about that next week. So, yeah. So
True.
you can find Rod at 40 Splish Splash. That's the number 40 with SPL ISH, SPL ASH. You can find him at is it still Splish and Splash on YouTube? I haven't
Yes,
checked
it
in a
is.
minute.
Even
So-
though, as you say, the Splish channel is the most active FPS. Since I'm gonna rebrand, I've said it so long time now. Second channel into music. Actually, that's what's gonna happen very soon. I say it now because I have to do that. Okay.
I'm with you on that.
Enough from me.
I've got a couple things I need to do very soon that I haven't done yet. So I feel you on that one. You can find me at LP Gardner's Garden.eu. I stream on Simply Binge as well. On a Monday and a Thursday. So I streamed on Monday. I will be streaming again tomorrow. You can find me on there. I sometimes stream on Simply Binge on YouTube, where I stream some eFootball if you want to catch me playing that game and partially being frustrated because the game is cheating me or something.
Yeah, I know that
Sometimes.
feeling.
Yeah, you just hop in and you're just like, let's see if the game gods are gonna be nice to me today.
Exactly. Throw
So
the dice.
it bloody well is a gamble at this point in time. Sometimes it just works, and sometimes it's just like bloody hell, what the frack is going on here? Why did that ball just go through my guy's leg? So yeah. So with that, guys, hopefully you guys enjoy this episode of that Beautiful Life podcast. Many beautiful people like to subscribe to this podcast on Castbox, Acast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and elsewhere. So simplybinge.com and elsewhere. And we're so confident they're gonna like it that we're giving it for free. So as always, guys, this has been Cued for your pleasure. And it's a wrap. That's the episode.